Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Katie. I am the owner and artist behind Salvaged by K. Scott. If you're new here and don't already know, I make my living right here out of my garage, at home, painting and restyling found and thrifted furniture. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I do what I do, which is spraying chalk style paints and water-based top coats. I get asked about my spray gun a lot. So I'm going to share with you everything I can possibly think to tell you about my gravity-fed HVLP pneumatic spray gun. I am by no means an expert on these tools. I am just sharing what I have learned and how I have run my business for the past 4 years. Please also understand that there is absolutely nothing wrong with a brushed or rolled finish. I always advocate that you're going to get the best finish possible using the tools that you feel comfortable with. Each and every painter out there has their own style preferences and tool preferences. This is just mine. So this is what I use to spray all of my chalk style paints and water-based top coats. This is a gravity-fed HVLP pneumatic spray gun. Let's break that down. Gravity-fed. The paint goes in the top and uses gravity to feed the paint down through the hopper and out through the gun. HVLP stands for high volume, low pressure, and pneumatic means that this gun is powered by compressed air. The exact model we're going to be looking at today is this Vapor brand HVLP pneumatic spray gun. I picked this up at Princess Auto for $64.99 Canadian, but you can find these all over Amazon and in all kinds of hardware stores at varying price points. To use this style of gun, you're going to need an air compressor. And you're going to need a big air compressor. A small pancake style compressor is not going to be able to produce enough air or hold enough air in the tank to keep up with this type of gun. The manufacturer recommends at least a 30-gallon tank. If you don't already own a suitable air compressor and aren't planning on using any other types of pneumatic tools, this might not be the right investment for your business. While the guns themselves are pretty inexpensive, a large tank air compressor can run hundreds or thousands of dollars. The only reason that I ended up using this style of sprayer for my furniture business is because we already had a suitable compressor in the garage, and my husband even had an HVLP gun in his tool stash that he wasn't using. Otherwise, I probably would have ended up using an electric version. So if a pneumatic setup is not going to be the right choice for your situation, I'm going to recommend a few different options that I see used over and over again in our amazing furniture painting community. I can't speak to the pros and cons of any of these guns because I don't have any experience with them personally, but I would recommend that you take some time to research them on your own and figure out what might be the best choice for you. The most popular electric powered spray guns that I see my furniture peers using most successfully are the HomeRight's Super Finish Max, the Wagner Flexio 590, or one of the Fuji Spray Pro turbine powered guns. I'm going to leave links to all of these guns in the description box below so that you can take some time to do your own research and figure out if any of these is the right investment for your business. Let's go ahead and add some names to all of these parts. So out of the box, your gun is going to look like this. It won't be wet. I just washed mine out. Don't mind the water. So you have your main gun piece here that comes pretty much ready to go. You do need to add a connector so that you can clip on your hose. These are usually sold separately at the hardware store and with all the air tools. I like to wrap a little bit of Teflon tape or plumber's tape around the thread before I add the connector on to make sure that I get an airtight seal. To put your gun together, you're going to take your nozzle piece. This just threads right on to the front of the gun, and this is where you can adjust your spray. Most guns will also come with a little nylon filter. This goes right in the top before you add your cup. The cup threads right on the top very easily, just finger tight. Once you've got your paint or top coat inside the cup, you add your lid. This little air valve just makes sure that you're maintaining pressure in the cup as the liquid moves down. And that's it. You're always going to get an instruction manual. Read it. There's lots of really valuable information in here. You'll also get a toolkit. This is where you'll find your filter. There's also a wrench in here so that you can break down the front of the gun and remove the needle if you need to ever do a deep clean. I hardly ever do that. So usually when my guns stop working properly, I just buy a new one. You'll also get a little brush to clean out any tight areas. This gun happens to also come with a pressure gauge that should be installed at the bottom of the gun before this connector piece. I use the pressure gauge attached to my air compressor instead of attaching this extra piece. I find these get bulky, get in my way, and I drag them through my paint finish, so I skip these. Make sure that you read the instruction manual that comes with your tool. It is going to give you all kinds of important information, safety information and good rules to follow. It's also a great reference guide for all of the pieces of your gun and what they're called. It tells you here exactly how to assemble your gun. It goes over the fan direction with great diagrams and also spray pattern adjustments, how to handle your gun the incorrect way and the correct way to get the best finish possible, care and maintenance, and cleaning. There's also usually a great troubleshooting guide that goes through all sorts of problems that you might run into and how to correct them. Hang on to this manual. You won't regret it. Always make sure that you're wearing proper personal protective equipment when you're spraying. You want to have a good quality respirator, some ear protection, not for the sound of the gun, but more for the sound of the compressor, and also safety glasses. I use these Honeywell P100 filters on my mask. They filter both vapors and particulates. All right, let's head out to the garage and check out the compressor situation. This is the setup that I use in the garage. I lovingly refer to this compressor as Frank. That's short for Frankenstein. It is a totally custom unit that my husband built from some other older compressors and some new pieces from the hardware store. I don't have a brand or model to share with you guys because there isn't one. I'm also not going to be able to tell you about all of the bells and whistles, gauges, and attachments. The only thing I've ever needed to know about this air compressor is how to turn it on and how to connect my gun. If you're looking for more detailed guidance on those things, I'll leave a card above and a link in the description box for a video by C. Jane Drill that I found very informative and helpful. The contraption that I use to hold my gun is another custom job by my husband, but you can find gun holders or gun stands on Amazon as well. Let's add some paint to this situation. Because I use chalk and mineral-based paints, which are thicker by nature, I do thin all of my paints before I spray, but just a little. I find that if I thin my paint with too much water, I'm more likely to get drips and sags in my finish. This is not at all a technical process for me. I usually add my paint to the hopper and then cover it with water. I mix my paint and water mixture right inside of the hopper. The proper way to go about this procedure is to mix your paint and water thoroughly in a separate container and then use a strainer to add it into your gun. If I'm getting ready to spray a top coat, I do not thin it at all. I always spray them straight up. Now I'm ready to attach my gun to my air hose and start spraying. Making adjustments to the nozzle is really easy. If the nozzle is in a horizontal position, it will spray vertically and vice versa. This knob on the side of the gun controls the spray pattern. If it's all the way closed, it will spray a small dot. If it's all the way open, it will spray a long line. The knob at the back controls the amount of fluid that's coming out of your gun. Again, all the way closed, no fluid will flow. All the way open, you'll get a lot of fluid. When I'm spraying my thicker paints, I usually dial everything back to a middle setting. Now I can spray. I like to overlap my lines by about 1/3 in every pass. You want to also make sure that you're keeping your gun an equal distance away from your piece. Instead of rotating your wrist back and forth, you want to keep your wrist nice and straight and move the gun back and forth across the piece. If you apply too much paint at too high of a pressure, it's going to drip. So while we watch this drip, I'm going to fill you in on a couple of other little tips. If you've never used a sprayer before, fill it up with water, take it out to your driveway or the sidewalk, and play around with all of the adjustments before you add paint. Get used to it, get comfortable with it, and then you can go ahead and add some color. And because I only use water-based products, cleanup is super easy. Once I'm finished spraying my paint or top coat, I empty out the hopper and take my gun inside to the laundry sink. I usually go ahead and take everything apart before I turn the water on. I'm not sure what I was thinking here. I think the filming process threw me off. I start by removing the lid. I usually keep a scrub brush in the laundry sink so that I can get into all of the threads of the lid. I'm also going to remove this little air valve at the top and make sure that that is free of paint. Next, I'll unscrew the paint cup from the gun and rinse that out as well. Next up, I'm going to unscrew the nozzle and make sure that all of the different air holes are free of paint. And I find it much easier to rinse the paint out of the gun if I just pop that nylon filter out of there. That gets a rinse, and then all I do is run my warm water through the body of the gun until it runs clear. Once you've got clear water, you're ready to switch to a top coat or a different color of paint, or you can just set it aside on a towel to dry out until the next time you need to use it. I really hope that this video helps you decide if the gravity-fed HVLP pneumatic spray gun is the right fit for you and your furniture business. Please make sure that you subscribe before you go, and I'll catch you guys next time.